All right, here we go again. I got out mellow yellow, the yellow machine. She's always been a pretty nice machine. It has just the plastic gray and has my signature two gauges right now. And originally she was my first prototype with the steam whistle with the valve. And then I just had this little whistle. It just was a little too wimpy. It kind of was too tweedy. But yeah, it's pretty cool. The one thing when you're adapting these things to stuff, like this one, I had to order this special adapter because of these threads. I forget what they are, but there's something that's hardly ever matched like this. Even though you think it would be, it's not. But this one was a little too wimpy, and the valve leaked a little. And of course, you always I would put them on a separate valve just for safety reasons too, because that's meant for like a toy train to hit and make a whistle and things like that. So that's pretty good. And this is the one that's on the other machine. I almost adapted to have the slightly bigger whistle, but I think what I might do with this is try to put it on the steam whistle one, have two whistles on it. I think that's going to be the next adaptation with that, so that's pretty cool. And I just, since the whistle came out here, I had an extra gauge, and I went ahead and did my double gauge. It just makes it look nice. And this is a really old machine. You can see the surface is, it's one of the gold machines or brass, whatever. It wore off over years of use, and I don't know, wherever it was stored, and it was one of these machines that wasn't really perfect. But now it works pretty good. I had put it away for a while. I would get out both steams on occasion, but you really only need one steam whistle. So this was one of my first like T adaptions, so it's nice. And then both of these have a slight blue. They read just a little different when they go, and that's what makes it good. And I'm just using the classic with the smaller handle, the classic double spout. Sometimes I spin these off. I have one that's spun off too. Either way, it works fine. And yeah, pretty damn cool. So this is the one is now they landed on Mars again. So we've always been stoked on Mars around here. We like any shows where they're going to Mars or space travel, time travel especially. So we like all that stuff a lot. And if someone's going to have to take their machine to Mars, it's coming up. It's not that far off. And we need to start thinking about that because what do we have, another 40, 45 years for some of this type of machine is going to hit 100 years old, which will be pretty cool. So we need to keep enough running still to keep them going at that time. And standard, not getting too wild with them. But yeah, it's going to come up and someone's going to have to take these to Mars. It would be me. I might go. I don't know how quick it'll go, but if I had the chance, I would take the trip, 7 months over, back, hang about 3 months, another 7 months back, be well worth it. But, some of our kids will go, or grandkids will be going to Mars. There's no doubt about that. So it's pretty exciting with all that going on. So we're going to have to think of, so there is some gravity on Mars, so the machines probably would work there in the habitat. They might be a little not energy efficient, whatever, but they'll have plenty of solar. And someone will, a little heavy, but someone will bring one. We just know they will. That's the way it is. And I would be. And I would like to see this actually machine go to Mars. So if I don't, one of the grandkids might. And I kind of want them to go. And one of them will take this machine to Mars. I think the main thing we had to think about is en route, the 7 months. So you're probably not going to have gravity, I don't think, in those trips in the beginning. Maybe they'll start them spinning or have some type, but you really won't have that much gravity. So we had something, a little solar flare there. The sun popped back out. It's been, the fog's really thick from the volcano right now. It's been cloudy all morning, and we've had some very incremental weather. The waves went down flat, but anyway, we're going back to Mars, and right up on Mauna Loa is the Mars project right above us. If we went that way, like 20 miles, 30 miles up on Mauna Loa, there would be the Mars project where they're living in a dome. And that's where they do test missions, and people go in there for 7 months and live inside it. They only come out in a spaceship, and not a spaceship, in a spacesuit, right? And they're simulating the whole thing. They live by Mars time and Mars weather. So it's pretty cool. You can sign up for that if you look for it. And, it's an epic thing. It's right up here in Mauna Loa. We have a lot of space stuff on this island, too. We have Mauna Kea with the observatories, and a lot of the Mars rovers have been tested on the terrain up here, not far from where I live, just because it's similar to Mars, and when you drive over the Settle Road, it is kind of like that. But anyway, so yeah, who's going to take the first machine? Someone is. Someone that sees this maybe will take the machine just because we're talking about it. But I would like to see this machine go. So I'm going to, you might see this someday on the newscast when some of the young girls, hey, wasn't that crazy guy? But anyway, we got to think of that. And we're, without any gravity, I don't know how they'd work, but I guess you'd have to adapt. So maybe some of the boys, Bong and the boys, will have to think about that because that's coming up and someone needs to start thinking about those things because the pressure release would have to be contained with maybe an air release. I don't know. It would have to be contained and recycled somehow. And of course, steaming milk might need some type of set procedure. So, or maybe you would have to just do a pump. You may not be able to steam, but the thing to do would to think of would one of these, probably the pressure would work in non-gravity. And of course, the amount of power it draws would be something, but I think that it would be pretty damn neat. And someone will, because one of them does need to go to Mars. We all know they do, and one will, and maybe your machine or someone's will, but I would like to see this yellow one go, even though it's not red like the red planet. Maybe I will have to redo this base into red just so it'll go, but this is one of my older machines. It came pretty battered, it wasn't expensive, and I redid it. I probably should redo the cord. I'm going to open the bottom and see how all the electronics work down there. I haven't really looked at it for a while just to double check. And yeah, it just has that nice kind of worn patina. I know everyone wants to polish this off, but look at it. It's just, kind of splendorous the way it's worn and still brand new in certain spots. And she just really is like a character. And it's just a beautiful old girl. And it's still the original handle, a little corroded and worn down. And, I don't know how long she worked or whether she was just stuffed in a corner, but probably was being used somewhere a lot. And yeah, this is one of my first machines. Yeah, sometimes you just don't know what you get. So back when I was first getting machines, that's why a lot they were readily available, but often in a sketchy. But I like them that way, in a sketchy situation. Not really situation, just condition. They've been sitting, and I always like those ones that may not work again, but really do. And some of mine did said not working, and they needed a switch, and several just work fine. I have that one in there I use every day now. It was supposed to be not working, and it worked perfect. I put some gaskets on it, and that baby runs. It's just a nice old steelish looking one. So anyway, let's start thinking about Mars, and I might redo this base now in red just for the red planet. So it kind of look good like the luck, the gold and red, the Asian and Chinese, the good luck colors. So that'd be pretty cool because we're all kind of unified and going to space, right? Everybody's going. And yeah, so that's what we're doing this weekend. I released a little silly surf one before this you can watch. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I think that this might be our next project. We'll switch this base to red. But what I just did was I made this into a double pressure gauge. I'll probably run it a little while and before I do that, just a couple times. And that's pretty cool. So, we're coming up and the afternoon's here. I think it's time I clip these babies on. So there, those are on, and yeah, that's going to be it for this time. And yeah, the Mars. Pavoni is going to Mars, and this machine is going to go to Mars, whether I'm still around or not. But perhaps a singularity will come in time, and they'll download old Stevie, and yeah, I'll go as a little chip to Mars. They can hook me into some clone, or they'll probably put me into some kind of weird drone or something, knowing that just like cleans out the septic tank. But anyway, have a good weekend, and yeah, here we go again. We're going to Mars, and we're going to mess with this machine now.